If you're a woman who feels like exercise makes your brain feel shiny, like you're calmer, kinder, more focused, less anxious, then this video is for you, because I want to talk about something I didn't understand until I was diagnosed with ADHD at 38. Exercise wasn't just healthy for me. It was a coping strategy. It was emotional regulation. It was basically my nervous system's favorite shortcut. And it worked really well until my body said no in a way that was no longer negotiable. Quick note, this is my lived experience and general education, not medical advice. If anything here feels familiar, it's worth chatting with your GP or relevant clinician. I was lucky. I grew up with a dad that was all about movement, not in a toxic way, not in a shrink your body way, but in this enthusiastic, consistent, let's go do stuff kind of way. He made exercise part of our routine without it feeling like a punishment. And he'd take us running and we'd do this like competitive sprint at the end, like a final burst down the road, and he would take us cycling. He made sure that we had sports and activities built into our schedule. As we got older, all of those structured activities fell away, and then he'd do things like get us gym memberships, go to the gym with us, take us to and from the gym. So there was always an occasion to be active, and he still models to this day what being an active person looks like even as you age. Looking back, I genuinely think that consistent movement kept me and my brain in check through my childhood, teens and early adulthood in a way that I didn't have language for at the time. So then I went travelling and ended up living in the UK for about 6 years, and during that time my exercise routine really fell off the bandwagon, and when that happened, so did my mental health, my ability to make good choices and my ability to regulate myself. I became very interested in sugary things, and looking back I think I was chasing an endorphin hit without realising what I was doing. Like a lot of people with ADHD, I also leaned on some unhealthy coping mechanisms. I'm not going to go into all of that in detail, but the pattern was clear. When exercise disappeared, I tried to replace the regulation it gave me with other things. Exercise became my main emotional regulation tool as I got older, because I went through some really chaotic stuff in my personal life. And as I've always had a close relationship with my dad, he was someone I could talk to, someone I can talk to. He also encouraged me to exercise when things got emotionally intense. And I did. And that became a pattern I carried into adulthood. I noticed that on days I exercised, I was calmer, more focused, less anxious, and more functional. So exercise became the biggest crutch in the world. I relied on it, and I want to be really clear here. Exercise isn't bad, it's incredible, but when it becomes your main or only emotional regulation strategy, shit can get messy. Because what happens when your body isn't up for it? When you're injured, when you're exhausted, or when you're unwell, that's when the wheels fall off. Black and white thinking and exercising through red flags. Here's where ADHD really shows up for me. So I'm neurodivergent, I'm blunt, I'm all or nothing, and I override signals. So I became someone who would exercise irrespective of what my body said. I would override being incredibly tired, I would override being dizzy, I would override needing more sleep, because in my head it was like, I must exercise or I don't cope. And if you're a millennial, you might relate to this. A lot of us didn't go up with amazing emotional regulation skills being modelled. Not because our parents were bad, just because the language and tools weren't as common. And if ADHD runs in families, which it often does, that can add another layer. So yes, exercise helped me, but I also pushed it too far and I ignored all of the red flags. By my mid-30s, I was extremely fit. I was running 10Ks regularly. I was strong. I was doing full range of motion chin-ups. My goal in life was to be like that chick on Terminator, Sarah Connor. Yeah. I felt physically powerful. And then my body broke dramatically. Multiple surgeries over multiple years, and I went through a long phase where I actually couldn't exercise anymore. And every time I tried, the results were catastrophic. It was like my body said no in a way that was no longer negotiable. And that was when I started to realize something that honestly shocked me. Not everyone is as emotionally dysregulated as I am and hiding it. Not everyone is working this hard just to cope with daily life. And that's what kickstarted my determination to figure out what was actually going on with me. I was 38 when I landed my ADHD diagnosis, and it explained so much. And a sleep study plot twist. If you've followed my channel, you'll know it's been continued health, let's just call it fuckery. Specialists, medication, rest, learning my body, fine-tuning food, doing everything you can think of to improve things. And recently I had a sleep study. It showed a couple of things. So one was some sleep apnea, hopefully manageable with a dual splint, and something that really grabbed my attention, which was alpha wave intrusion into REM sleep. So in simple terms, alpha wave intrusion is when your brain stays in a kind of aroused, alert state during sleep. So it's like your pain system or anxiety system or both are still switched on. So you keep getting pulled towards near wakefulness when you're meant to be getting a deep restorative sleep. So I asked my rheumatologist, what have you seen clinically that helps reduce alpha wave intrusion, like the best thing that you've seen clinically? What are the best results? He looked at me in the eye and said, exercise. And I was like, okay, noted. So back in the day, cardio was working and I forgot. So I looked back through all of my smartwatch data and I found a period before Mel and I got married where I was doing a lot more cardio. I don't remember it feeling like a magic time, but the data showed something interesting. There were no flares during that period. Now, if you know me, you know that my exercise of choice is not cardio. I like weights, heavy weights. I love lifting heavy things. Cardio is something I would do for conditioning, but not really for joy. And my pattern has often been, I start cardio, I feel good, I get a little routine, hello doggy, and then I go back to weights. What follows is often a massive flare. So this time, I've decided to do something different. I have started a cardio-based program with a main goal, and that is to improve my sleep quality and also improve my HRV, support mental health, and build something sustainable. Because here's the thing that keeps bringing me back to exercise. My brain feels shiny and fabulous when I'm exercising. It's not just my mood, it's my generosity. It's reduced anxiety. It's a less nitpicky, bitchy little inner gremlin. It's like the gremlin gets shut away and I become my best self mentally when I am moving consistently. And I've been doing this cardio approach for a week now and I feel wonderful. Yes, I've got DOMS, the normal starting again soreness, but I'm not scared of it. I know from experience that in a couple of weeks it settles down from loud and limping and moaning to background noise. Here's what I want you to take from this, especially if you're a woman who's been dismissed or labelled as high functioning. If exercise makes you feel more regulated, more focused, more emotionally steady, that's not you being dramatic. That's not you being lazy when you can't do it. That's your nervous system responding to a tool that genuinely helps. But if exercise is your only tool and your body takes it away, it can expose how much support you needed all along. And that's not a personal failure, that is information. I want to say I'm extremely grateful to my dad for being such an exercise pusher all these years. That modelling mattered a lot, and it is an absolute privilege to have seen that in action. I'm hoping that with everything I've learned about ADHD, chronic illness, pacing, recovery, sleep, and my own body, I can finally build an exercise practice that's sustainable this year. Because I haven't been able to do it in the last 4 years. And I really, really want to change that. I'll keep you posted, yeah? If this was even mildly helpful, please like and subscribe. It genuinely helps my channel reach the people that need it. And if you want part 2, I can talk about what sustainable movement looks like when you have ADHD and chronic illness, like how to avoid the all or nothing trap and what to do when your body says not today. So comment part 2 if you want that. That's all for now. Catch you next time, guys. Bye.